Uh, we will going to discuss two topics today, the tissue and the integumentary system. So first is the tissue. By the way, the study of tissue is called histology. Okay, so a tissue again is a group of cells that perform specific function. Okay, example, halimbawa yung utak. No? So yung utak, ang tawag natin doon is organ. Take note, organ yun ha. And say for example, kumuha tayo ng part of that brain. Ang tawag dun sa part ng brain na yon is brain tissue. At pagka tinignan po natin yan sa microscope, pag inobserve natin sa microscope, okay, it is composed or made up of group of brain cells that perform specific function, specifically, particularly conduction of nerve impulses throughout the body. And there are 4 basic types of tissues in the human body. Okay, first is the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, the muscular tissue, and the nervous tissue. Okay, take note that epithelial tissue refers to the tissue of the body covering. Yung tissue ng ating balat, together with the lining of the body cavities. When we say lining of the body cavities, ito po yung internal surface ng mga body cavities natin, like the digestive sac, the blood vessels, the abdominal cavity, pelvic cavity, etc. While connective tissue, from the word itself, these are the tissue that connect, meaning bind another tissue to another tissue. Okay, halimbawa, yung tendon. So, ano yung tendon? Yun po yung nagko-connect ng muscle to the bone. So, isa po siyang connective tissue. While the muscular tissue, ito naman po yung mga tissue ng ating muscles, which are responsible for contraction that facilitates movement. And lastly is the nervous tissue, refers naman to the tissue of the nervous system, which includes the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves throughout all over the body. Okay, so let us first discuss the epithelial tissue, or otherwise known as epithelium. So yung epithelial tissue, pag tinignan po natin or inobserve natin sa microscope, it is made up of epithelial cells. And these epithelial cells are densely packed, ibig sabihin dikit-dikit, leaving few intercellular matrix. Dahil dikit-dikit sila, konti na lang yung intercellular matrix or intercellular substance. Pag sinabi po nating intercellular substance, okay, ito yung substance in between each cells. At dahil nga dikit-dikit sila, so konti lang yon, no? Okay, kasi yung mga cells nga are dikit-dikit through cell junctions. Epithelial tissue, okay, take note, is nakadikit po siya sa tinatawag na basement membrane. Ito po yung basement membrane sa ilalim ng mga epithelial cells. Okay, another characteristic feature or general feature ng epithelium or epithelial tissue, avascular. Pag sinabing avascular, wala po silang blood vessel. Kaya yung ating skin, pagka mababaw lang yung sugat or yung kalmot, hindi po yan nagdurugo. Di ba? Okay? Kasi avascular siya. From the word avascular, alang vascular. Di ba? Meaning blood vessel. Alang blood vessel. Okay, but innervated siya. Pag sinabing innervated, meron siyang nerve supply. Kaya kahit na hindi siya dumugo, di ba? Nararamdaman pa rin natin yung hapdi. Halimbawa, nakalmot ka kahit hindi dumugo, nararamdaman mo pa rin yung hapdi. At syempre, pagka ikaw ay hinawakan, so you can feel the tactile sensation. At mitosis occur frequently, mabilis daw pong divide, mag-produce yung mga cells. The reason kung bakit yung ating skin ay mabilis mag-heal or mag-regenerate. Okay, so meron pong dalawang klase ng epithelium. Una, the classifications of epithelium based on the shape of the cells. Base daw sa hugis ng mga cells na bumubuo sa epithelial tissue. At yung pangalawa is the classification naman ng epithelium base daw sa arrangement ng layers. Ibig sabihin kung gaano karami or ilang patong, ilang layers yung mga cells na bumubuo sa epithelium. Okay, unahin natin yung classifications of epithelium according sa mga shape ng cells. No? Una is squamous epithelium. Okay, squamous epithelium, from the word squamous, meaning thin and flat. So therefore, squamous epithelium, it is made up of thin and flat cells. No? Gawa daw sa maninipis at mga flat na mga cells. Wherein cuboidal, ito naman po yung cuboidal, okay? From the word cube, yan. It is composed of cube-shaped cells. While columnar epithelium is made up of tall cells. Yan, matatangkad na cells, no? Yan, tall cells. Kaya tinawag na columnar, these tall cells are arranged like columns, no? Okay, next naman is the classifications of epithelium according to arrangement of layers. Ibig sabihin kung ilang layers, under which we have the simple epithelium. Okay, when we say simple epithelium, it is made up of single layer of cell, no? Or one layer of cell. Okay, while the stratified epithelium is made up of several layers, meaning made up of 2 or more layers or several layers. Okay, and lastly is the pseudo-stratified epithelium. Okay, pseudo, take note, pseudo means false. False. Ibig sabihin, pseudo-stratified epithelium, false several layers. Ano ibig sabihin ng false several layers? Several layers, pero false, hindi totoo. Why? Ba't ganon? Okay? Kasi pag tinignan po natin yan sa microscope, yung pseudo-stratified epithelium, it looks like it is made up of several layers. Kaya lang, ang totoo niyan, if you examine each cell thoroughly, all cells are attached at the basement membrane. Ayan, no? So therefore, walang layer, no? Isang layer lang. Nagkataon lang that the nucleus or it is composed of varying heights of cells. Ibig sabihin, yung mga cells ay hindi pantay-pantay ang laki. Merong maliit, merong malaki. Tapos yung mga nucleus ng bawat cell ay hindi wala sa iisang layer, hindi tulad nito, no? Yan, magkakatapat yung nucleus nila. Pero ito, yung mga nucleus ng bawat cells ay hindi magkakatapat. Kaya it would appear several layers but actually it is only made up of single layer. Kaya tinawag siyang pseudo-stratified epithelium, meaning false several layers. Okay. And we have 2 types of epithelia, by the way, the glandular epithelia and the surface epithelia. Okay, pag sinabing surface epithelia or epithelium, this is the epithelial tissue that covers the skin, and the inner linings of the body cavities. Okay, which makes up your what? Your epidermis. So take note, Surface epithelium makes up the epidermis of the skin. While the glandular epithelia, from the word glands, these are the epithelium or epithelial tissue of the glands such as sweat glands and the oil glands, which can be found naman in the dermis of the skin that are specialized for secretion, meaning nagsisecrete sila ng materials like oil for the oil gland and sweat for the sweat gland. Okay, now next is the connective tissue. So again, what is connective tissue? It is a tissue that connect, meaning bind, nagdidikit. Okay, it binds other tissue to another tissue. Example nga, nabanggit natin kanina, yung tendon, which connect the muscle to the bone. Another example is the ligament, which connect the bone to another bone. Okay, now there are 2 basic elements of the connective tissue, the cells and the extracellular matrix. Okay, pag sinabi nating extracellular matrix, ito yung matrix or substance or ground substance that surrounds each cell, which unfortunately, gaya ng nabanggit natin kanina, epithelial tissue almost do not have extracellular matrix because cells are densely or compactly connected or arranged with each other. Wherein ang connective tissue, meron siyang Okay, abundant extracellular matrix because the cells are not really what? Are not closely packed with each other. Okay, so the general feature of connective tissue, unlike the epithelium, it has a free surface and what? And it is connected to the basement membrane, while the connective tissue do not have free surface and it is not connected in or to a basement membrane. But it is highly vascularized compared sa epithelium, which is avascular. That's why it doesn't bleed. The connective tissue is highly vascularized and has a nerve supply, except for the tendon and the ligament. Okay, there are four types of cells of the connective tissue. Yeah, no? So there are two basic elements. First is the cell and the other one is the extracellular matrix. So punta tayo sa cells. Meron daw apat na types ng cells. Una is the fibroblast, pangalawa is the adipocyte, the white blood cells, or maraming klase ng white blood cells, and the bone tissue. Okay, unahin natin yung fibroblast. So, yung mga fibroblasts are large flat cells, malaki at mga flat sila. And they move through the connective tissue. Gumagalaw daw sila, parang lumalangoy-langoy. Okay, anong function ng mga fibroblast na yan? Sila po, from the word itself, sila yung nagsisecrete or nagpuproduce ng fiber dun sa ground substance or dun sa matrix ng connective tissue. Okay, next naman is the adipocytes. Ito naman ay tinatawag na ding mga fat cells. At kaya sila tinawag na fat cells kasi meron silang fat globule na nag-i-store, ibig sabihin nag-iipon, nag-iimbak. Okay, nag-i-store ng fat. Ito naman ay matatagpuan natin sa ilalim ng ating skin, yung taba, yung tinatawag na hypodermis, sa pork chop. Okay? 'Di ba pag kumakain ka ng pork chop, merong fat dun sa ilalim ng manipis na skin. Manipis lang yung skin ng pork chop, 'di ba? Pero matigas. Tapos sa ilalim nun, 'di ba, merong taba. So, yun po yung ang tawag natin doon is adipose tissue or fat tissue. And it is made up of this type of cells, the adipocytes. Okay? And also it is also found in surrounding other organs like the heart, the kidney, the intestines, yung mga taba-taba dyan na nakabalot dyan. Okay, next is the blood cells naman, blood cells, meron iba't ibang type as I've mentioned. Maraming klase yan. Una is the macrophages. Itong mga macrophages na to, they develop from monocytes. Ano ba yung monocyte? This is a type of a white blood cell. Okay? So, yung monocyte, siya ay nagiging macrophages to destroy bacteria. And eat cell debris. Halimbawa, merong mga namatay na cells sa katawan natin. Sila yung taga-kain ng mga debris through phagocytosis. Okay, another type of white blood cell naman is the eosinophil. So, isa rin itong type ng white blood cell, Okay, and it is responsible naman, take note, the eosinophil is responsible siya for parasitic infection at saka allergic responses. So, pagka meron kang allergy o meron kang parasitic infection, sila daw yung lumalaban. Okay, so they help in the fighting infection and diseases. Kasi nga, they are, aside from the macrophage, that came from monocyte, so sila rin po, itong mga eosinophil ay mga white blood cells. Kilala naman natin kung ano trabaho ng white blood cell, di ba? Okay, another white blood cell is the neutrophil. At ito namang neutrophil na to, sila naman daw yung mga pumapatay ng mga mikrobyo sa katawan natin, again through phagocytosis. They are classified or well known as the first line of defense, neutrophils. And they form majority of our white blood cells. Around 60% of our white blood cell is composed of neutrophils. Mapatay na mga microbes, mga mikrobyo. Okay, next is the plasma cells. Originate naman ito sa B lymphocytes or lymphocytes. At ito naman yung, kumbaga sa lahat ng white blood cells, ito daw yung pinakamahusay at pinakamatalino. Bakit? Kasi nakakapag-produce siya ng antibodies. Para pagka tayo ay, kaya nga 'di ba pagka ikaw ay nagkaroon ng chickenpox, yung ating mga plasma cells, okay, na nag-originate from lymphocytes, nagpo-produce sila ng antibodies. Kaya pagka gumaling ka na, meron ka ng antibodies, okay, hindi ka na ulit mahahawa ng chickenpox, okay? Pero na lang pag nag-evolve yung chickenpox virus, so pwede pa rin. Pwede pa rin namang umulit ang chickenpox. Pero seldom na lang siguro, one in a hundred thousands na lang. Okay? Or even 1 in a million. Because of yan nga, kasi nagde-develop ng antibodies si plasma cells sa ating katawan. Okay. And the last is the mast cells. So, these are abundant along the blood vessels. Ito naman yung nagpo-produce ng histamine, which dilates small blood vessels during inflammation. Ang trabaho po ni mast cell, pagka halimbawa merong infection sa katawan natin, o ganun din pagka merong ding allergy, sila daw yung responsable para mamaga yung mga part na to. Bakit kailangan mamaga? Kasi po, kaya namamaga yung part ng infection, nagda-dilate po yung mga blood vessels, lumalaki yung mga ugat dyan. Bakit? Para itong mga white blood cells ay madaling makapunta dyan sa lugar na yan, of course, to fight infections and diseases. Okay? So, yon ang trabaho po ni mast cell is to dilate. Kumbaga, siya yung magpapaluwag ng daanan. Pagka may infection, mauuna siya ron, paluluwagin yung daanan para yung makakamping ng mga white blood cells ay madali na ngayong rating, makapunta. Para yung backup madaling makasugod, kumbaga. Okay. So, there are different types of, yung dinascuss natin a while ago, yun yung mga cells ng connective tissue, Okay, ngayon naman, dumako naman tayo sa different types of connective tissue. Okay, so what are the different types of connective tissue under which we have? Number 1, loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, cartilage tissue, and the bone tissue. Although marami yan, pero dahil yan lang yung nakalagay sa module, focused lang tayo dyan. Okay, unahin natin yung loose connective tissue. Under loose connective tissue, merong 3 subtypes. Okay, so what are the 3 subtypes of loose connective tissue? By the way, when we say loose connective tissue, to differentiate it from the dense connective tissue, pag tinignan po natin or in-examine natin sa microscope, it is made up of loosely arranged fibers. Ibig sabihin yung mga fibers sa loose connective tissue ay medyo magkakahiwa-hiwalay, loosely arranged. Malinaw po. Samantalang yung dense connective tissue naman ay, from the word dense, yung mga fibers naman ay closely or densely aggregated with each other, magkakalapit. Okay, so nakita niyo na yung difference ng loose connective tissue at saka dense connective tissue. Now, move naman po tayo sa, again, 3 types of loose connective tissue. Number 1, areolar connective tissue. Number 2, adipose tissue. And number 3, reticular connective tissue. Okay. Yung areolar connective tissue, ito po yung loose connective tissue na moist. Moist, ibig sabihin mamasa-masa. Because it is composed of semi-fluid substance made up of hyaluronic acid and chondroitin sulfate. By the way, yung areolar connective tissue, it has 3 types of fibers, meron siyang reticular, collagen, at saka elastic fibers. While yung adipose tissue, wala po siyang fibers. Okay? Ang meron siya is cells called adipocytes or fat cells. Wala rin daw po siyang ground substance or matrix. Okay? Because dikit-dikit din yung mga cells. Okay, kasi bawat cells are full of fat globule that stores fats. Okay? It is associated with the fatty tissues. Yun nga, yung nabanggit ko kanina sa inyo, no? Yung sa pork chop or dun sa ilalim ng ating balat, merong taba dyan, no? Or fats yan. Nandyan po, ang tawag natin dyan is the adipose tissue. Again, made up of adipocytes or fat cells. While the third one, the reticular connective tissue, kaya tinawag po yung reticular connective tissue, it is abundant or rich in reticular fibers. Kasi 'di ba nabanggit ko kanina na meron tatlong types of fibers, ano? Reticular, collagen at saka elastic. So itong reticular connective tissue, ang fibers na matatagpuan diyan pagka tinignan sa microscope are reticular fibers produced or synthesized by the reticular cells. Next type of connective tissue, yung dense connective tissue. Ano ulit ang pagkakaiba ni dense kay loose? So, yon ano? Si dense connective tissue naman is made up of closely or densely or compactly aggregated fibers. Magkakadikit daw po yung mga fibers. And meron tayong tatlong klase ng dense connective tissue. The dense regular, the dense irregular, and the elastic. Okay? Dense regular, kaya siya tinawag na dense regular, pag tinignan natin sa microscope yung arrangement ng fibers are regularly arranged. Kumbaga nakasalansan ng maayos as you can see in the image. Ano? So makikita natin yung mga fibers, parang nakahilera siya. Maayos yung pagkakasalansan niya. Samantalang yung dense irregular, ayan, no? Sabog-sabog yung mga nagkalat yung mga fibers. Kalat-kalat, hindi maayos yung pagkakasalansan. Elastic connective tissue is made up of elastic fibers. Again, secreted by the fibroblast. Okay? By the way, the dense regular connective tissue can be found in the tendon and ligament. Okay? Samantalang yung dense irregular naman can be found in the dermis of the skin. Okay, next is the cartilage tissue. Okay, so ito namang cartilage tissue, meron tatlong klase, no? The hyaline cartilage, the fibrocartilage, and the elastic cartilage. Okay, to differentiate, itong hyaline cartilage, meron siyang gelatinous ground substance. Parang gelatin daw yung matrix niya or ground substance. And it is chiefly or mainly made up of collagen fibers. Take note yung hyaline cartilage is made up of collagen fibers. Okay? At yung kanyang matrix is what? Yung kanyang ground substance is gelatinous, parang gelatin. Samantalang yung fibrocartilage, although also made up of collagen fibers, pero mas marami yung collagen fibers niya, no? Thick yung mga bundles ng collagen fibers. Okay? Although gelatinous din yung ground substance niya, pero mas strong siya. Kasi mas marami siyang collagen fibers. So mas strong siya. Bakit mas strong siya? Kasi itong fibrocartilage, ito po ay matatagpuan sa mga joints natin, ano? Okay? Sa mga joints, sa intervertebral disc. Okay, so again, ang fibrocartilage, the strongest type of cartilage can be found in the skeletal joints, particularly sa intervertebral disc. Samantalang yung hyaline cartilage naman, balikan natin yung hyaline cartilage, can be found naman in the, yung ating nose, hawakan nyo yung nose ninyo. Hindi po yan buto that is cartilage. Yan. Hyaline cartilage yan. At saka yung trachea natin, yung trachea, kumakain naman kayo ng leeg ng manok, ano? Pag kinain niyo yung leg ng manok, may mapapansin kayong parang straw doon na makunat. Okay, trachea po yun or windpipe. Also made up of hyaline cartilage. And the last type of cartilage tissue is the elastic cartilage. Okay, ano naman po yung elastic cartilage? Ang mga fibers naman na matatagpuan dito, pag sinilip sa microscope of course, are elastic fibers. And among these three type of cartilages, itong elastic cartilage ang pinaka-elastic. Although elastic yung hyaline, elastic din yung fibrocartilage, or mas less elastic yung fibrocartilage. Ang elastic cartilage ang pinaka-elastic because of the elastic fibers secreted by the chondrocytes. And saan daw natin pwedeng matagpuan ito, itong elastic cartilage? Yung auricle ninyo or yung tenga, yung outer part ng tenga ninyo. Hawakan niyo yung mga tenga ninyo. Okay, di ba? Elastic siya. So that is an elastic cartilage. Okay, next type of connective tissue, the blood. Okay, so blood, take note, blood do not have fibers. Okay, and it is composed of two parts. Dalawang parts ng blood. Una, plasma, and pangalawa are the cells or the corpuscles. Anong pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Siyempre, cells, ito yung mga, or corpuscles, ito yung mga red blood cells, white blood cells, at saka blood platelets. Okay? Plasma is known to be the fluid part of the blood, comprising around 80 to 90%. Okay. Okay, next is the bone tissue. So, ang bone tissue naman also consists of fibers. Meron din siyang fibers, okay, particularly collagen fibers. Kaya matibay din po ang buto, Dahil yung mga fibers niya ay, kasi sa tatlong klase ng fibers, between collagen, elastic, and reticular, ang collagen fibers po ang pinaka matibay. So, kaya ang buto ay matibay din because it consists of the collagen fibers. And the cells of the bone tissue are called osteocytes. Tapos yung kanyang ground substance or yung kanyang extracellular matrix is calcified, meaning rich in calcium. Okay, so yung mga binanggit natin kaninang mga una na mga connective tissue, mga matured connective tissues yon. Tapos meron ding mga tinatawag na embryonic tissue. Okay, ito naman yung connective tissue ng embryo, which includes the mesenchyme and the mucus. So next type of tissue is the muscle. So pangilan na to? Pangatlo, Kasi yung una, epithelial tissue, followed by connective tissue, although marami-raming connective tissue, and the muscle tissue. Okay, the muscle tissue are the tissue of the muscles. At meron lang naman tatlong klase yan. Skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Okay, to differentiate, skeletal muscle tissue, ito po yung muscle tissue ng ating skeletal muscle from the word itself, Ang tanong, ano yung skeletal muscle? Ito po yung muscle na nakadikit sa ating mga bones, sa ating buto, that are responsible for voluntary movements. Okay, ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng voluntary movements? These are movements controlled by will. Ito yung mga paggalaw sa iyong kagustuhan. Di ba? Pagka gusto mong igalaw yung kamay mo, sinong nagpapagalaw? Skeletal muscle, which are made up of skeletal muscle tissue. Okay, while the smooth muscles, eto naman po yung mga muscles ng ating internal organs. Tinatawag din po silang visceral muscles. Okay? By the way, yung skeletal muscle, tinatawag din siyang striated muscle. Okay? Yung smooth muscle naman, since matatagpuan siya sa, saan ulit? Sa internal organs, Okay? Sa internal organs or viscera such as intestine, blood vessels. It is responsible naman for the involuntary movement of these organs. Ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng involuntary movements? Okay, movements not controlled by your will. Kaya nga, ibig sabihin, kusang gumagalaw kahit hindi mo kagustuhan. Kaya nga yung bituka natin at saka yung blood vessels natin, mga ugat, kusang gumagalaw yan, Okay, during digestion and during what? Circulation of blood. Kasi involuntary movement, no? While the cardiac muscle is responsible for the involuntary movement of our heart during pumping. Again, involuntary din siya, meaning not controlled by your will. Kaya nga, kahit ayaw at sa gusto mo, in love ka man o hindi, ay tuloy-tuloy ang pagtibok niyan, di ba? Okay? By the way, meron akong gustong i-discuss dito sa tatlo ulit na muscles, yung pagkakaiba nila. Bukod dun sa voluntary, involuntary, at saka yung skeletal sa muscles attached to the skeletons, yung smooth muscle naman ay sa internal organs, yung cardiac naman ay sa heart. Kaya yung kanilang general features, no? Yung skeletal muscles, meron po siyang tinatawag ng mga striations. Ayan, makikita nyo sa image, may mga stripes siya. Ang tawag dyan is striations. Kaya siya tinawag na striated. Samantalang smooth muscle, kaya siya tinawag na smooth kasi wala po siyang striation. Smooth lang siya. Wala siyang mga stripes. Okay, yung cardiac muscle, striated din siya. Nakatulad ng skeletal muscle. Kaya lang, mapapansin natin agad yung difference pag tinignan sa microscope. Yung cardiac muscles ay may mga branches yung kanyang mga fibers. May mga sanga-sanga. As you can see sa image, no? Because each muscle fibers are interconnected with each other by intercalated disc. Okay pa? Yan. And the other term for each, para mas maintindihan natin difference, yung skeletal muscle is also known as striated voluntary muscle. While the smooth muscle is also known non-striated involuntary muscle tissue. Samantalang yung cardiac muscle is also known as striated involuntary muscle tissue. Okay, so from there, malalaman mo na agad yung mga differences niya. Okay, so the last type of tissue is the nervous tissue. Okay, nervous tissue naman is the tissue of the nerves, which includes the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerve fibers all over the body. And it is made up of group of cells called what? Neurons. So the brain cells are also called mga neurons din to, no? They are classified under neurons. Sinatawag lang natin silang brain cells to specifically identify that they are found in the brain. But lahat po ng cells sa ating nervous system are called neurons. Malinaw po. Okay. And the neurons is stellate shape. When we say stellate, para siyang star shape or para siyang parol. Ayan, malapit na Christmas. Kumanta na si Jose Marichan. So, para kang nagsabit ng parol, sa tarangkahan ng iyong bahay. Yan, stellate shape siya. Okay. And the notable characteristic of the neurons ay meron siyang mga processes or projections. Diba yung parol, meron siyang parang mga buntot-buntot. Diba? Okay, so meron dalawang klase ng processes. Una, dendrites. Ito yung dendrite. At yung pangalawa, itong axon. Anong pagkakaiba ng dendrites sa axon? Take note, yung dendrites ito. Itong maraming mga maraming project processes na yan, marami pero maliliit. Mga dendrites po yan. Okay, what is the function or what are the function of dendrites? They receive information. Sila yung nagre-receive ng information. So, halimbawa, from this part, they receive information. Halimbawa, from this neuron, they receive the information from what? From the other neuron. Kasi ang nerve impulses po ay parang pass the message game yan. Halimbawa, kinurot ka. Okay? Yung neuron dun sa site, kung saan ka kinurot, ipapasa niya dun sa adjacent neuron. Na ipapasa na naman sa susunod na neuron, hanggang sa makarating sa iyong brain. Because the nerve fiber is composed of mga dikit-dikit at nakahilerang mga neurons. So, parang pinapasa-pasa lang yan. So, take note, again, yung dendrite, siya yung nagre-receive ng information. Samantalang yung axon ay isa lang, nag-iisa, pero mahaba. Siya yung parang buntot niya. Okay? Which, naman ang function nitong axon na ito? siya naman yung nakalagay dito output. Ibig sabihin, siya yung nagtatransport ng information papunta naman dun sa next neuron. Okay, along the or through the axon terminal. Nakuha niyo po? Okay. So again, dendrites marami pero maigsi, receives information. Axon mahaba pero isa lang. Okay, which transport or conduct the information to the next neuron. Parang ipinapasa niya. Output nga di ba? Okay, so that is the... At meron, by the way, dalawang klase ng neurons, ano? The afferent neuron and the efferent neuron. Anong pagkakaiba ng dalawang neurons na yan? Yung afferent, letter A, afferent neurons, otherwise known as sensory neurons. Okay, itong mga sensory neurons na to, conduct or transport the nerve impulse towards the brain. Papunta sa brain. Halimbawa, kinurot ka. So, sila daw yung magdadala ng information or nerve impulse papunta sa brain. Kaya nga tinawag na sensory. Kasi sila yung nagde-determine ng sensation at ise-send sa brain. Samantalang yung efferent neurons, letter E, otherwise known as motor neurons, conduct naman or transport the nerve impulse away from the brain and are responsible for motor reaction. So, di ba pag kinurot ka, pagka nakarating sa brain mo yung information na there is pain, anong gagawin ni brain? Magpapadala naman siya ng signal or ng information papunta naman dun sa kamay para igalaw mo yung kamay mo, di ba? Iwigil mo, ouch, 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 ang sakit, di ba? Okay, sa ganun po yan. Next are the membranes. These are special type of connective tissue. Membranes are flat sheets of malleable tissue that cover or line a part of the body. So, yung mga part ng katawan natin, even the organs, meron pong mga nakabalot dyan. Ano? So, ang tawag natin dyan ay mga membranes. Although under po sila ng epithelial tissue, okay, supported by a connective tissue. Okay? At meron tatlong klase ng membranes: mucous membrane, serous membrane, at saka cutaneous membrane. Okay. So, ano yung mucous membrane? Okay, ito naman daw ay matatagpuan sa mga mucosa. Okay, ano ba yung mga example ng mucosa? Ito yung mga lining, lining ng ating digestive tract such as the stomach and the intestine. Nagsisikret po sila ng mucus. Kaya yung mga part na yung mga organs na yan, yung mga membranes ng mga organs na yan are mamasa-masa kasi meron pong mucus yan secreted by the mucous membrane. Okay, while the serous membrane is found naman ito naman yung kung yung mucous membrane it lines the inner surface of an organ. Serous membrane naman lines the outer surface of an organ. Okay? Such as in the pleural cavity, that surrounds the lungs. Okay. Nagsisikret naman ito so kung ang mucous membrane nagsisikret ng mucus, that keep the organ or the surface moist. Yung serous membrane naman nagsisikret naman ng serous fluid, okay, that it decreases or reduces or avoid friction. Halimbawa yung lungs natin, or yung heart, kasi gumagalaw yan, di ba? So, para daw hindi nagagasgas yung lungs at saka yung heart pag nagumagalaw sila, during breathing, yung lungs, and during beating yung heart, para daw hindi sila nagagasgas. So, yun, nagsisikret ng serous fluid. We now move to the integumentary system. Okay, the integumentary system is composed of two parts, Unang-una is the skin, and number 2 are the skin derivatives or the accessory organs of the skin. Okay, unahin natin yung skin. So, the skin is the outer covering of the body and it is responsible for important functions. Namely, number 1, thermoregulation. Number 2, meaning regulates body temperature. Blood reservoir, protection, okay? Cutaneous sensation, meaning sensation. Excretion and absorption, like excretion of metabolic waste in the form of sweat. And absorption, like absorption of ultraviolet rays necessary for the synthesis of vitamin D. Absorption of elements or compounds that you apply in your skin to make your skin healthy and beautiful, di ba? And of course, synthesis of vitamin D. Nagsisynthesize or gumagawa siya ng vitamin D. Okay, unahin natin yung protection. So, one of the function of the skin is for protection. Okay, through its number 1, keratin. Kaya meron pong kakayahan ng ating skin to protect our body because of number 1, keratin. That is the outermost layer of our skin. Okay, meron siyang keratin that protects our body, ano? Sebum. Okay, what is sebum? That is oil. So importante po yung oil, no, sa ating skin. Wag lang oily, pangit din naman yung sobra. So yung sebum kaya nagpo-protect yan. Melanin. Okay, ano naman yung melanin? The melanin protects our body from ultraviolet radiation. Okay? And it is known as the pigmentation of the skin, or the color brown of our skin. Melanin po yan. So pagka mas marami kang melanin, mas dark ang complexion ng skin mo. Pagka fewer ang melanin mo, mas maputi ka compared sa iba. Ganun lang naman yan. Okay? Tapos, sweat, no? Through sweat, yung sweat po natin is acidic. Of course, acidity is important in what? It is important in killing microbes. Tapos, yung ating skin, meron din daw siyang mga macrophages. Okay? At na-discuss natin, ano nga ang function ng macrophages? They destroy, microbes through phagocytosis or through eating these microbes. Okay. Next is, another function is cutaneous sensation. So, meaning, our skin is responsible for sensation. Number 1, tactile sensation like touch, pressure, vibration, and tickle, yung kiliti. Tactile sensation ang tawag natin dyan. Thermal sensation, from the word thermal, temperature, such as warmth and cold. Okay? And of course, pain. Our body able to feel pain when you are pricked by a needle or pinched by your classmate pag kinurot ka. Dahil meron pong mga sensory organs yan sa ating skin. Mga corpuscles like Meissner's corpuscles, cross and bulbs, tapos meron din siyang nerve endings for pain sensation. Okay, another function of skin is synthesis of vitamin D. Ibig sabihin, nagpuproduce siya ng vitamin D. So, hindi po totoo na ang vitamin D ay galing sa sunlight, na-scam kayo ng mga teacher nyo nung elementary at high school. Pero bakit importante ang sunlight? Kasi yung sunlight po, yung ultraviolet ray, okay, from the early morning sunlight, wag yung tanghali kasi masyado nang mataas ang ultraviolet radiation pagka tanghali. Ano man ang sobra, di ba, delikado. So, early morning sunlight, meron niyang sapat na dami lang na ultraviolet ray. At ito po yung para silang parang reactant. Okay? So, pagka na-absorb ng ating skin yung ultraviolet radiation na yon, yung mga chemical sa ating skin nagkakaroon ng reaction to synthesize or to form vitamin D, which are then absorbed by our bones for calcium absorption. Of course, it is important. Alam naman natin na ang calcium is importante sa buto. So therefore, ang vitamin D, importante yan for normal and proper bone development through calcium absorption. Okay po? Okay. Another function of the skin is thermoregulation, from the word regulation. Thermo meaning temperature. So, importante po ang ating skin in regulating our body temperature. Halimbawa, pagka mainit, anong ginagawa ng ating skin? First, through perspiration or sweating. In that way, our body releases the excess heat produced in our body para ma-regulate yung body temperature. Okay? Tapos, pagka malamig naman, ano naman ang ginagawa ng ating skin? Okay, pinabibilis naman po niya yung blood flow. Okay, dun sa dermis. At syempre, pagka mabilis na ang blood flow, okay, iinit yung katawan mo para hindi ka ginawin. Okay ba? Okay, next function, another function of the skin is excretion and absorption. Pag sinabi po nating excretion, elimination of substances from the body. Specifically what? Sweat. Because sweat contains what? Metabolic waste, which should be eliminated from the body. While the absorption, meaning the passage of materials from the external environment papunta sa ating body cells. Okay? So, halimbawa, transdermal drug administration, pagka nag-i-inject ka ng gamot, di ba? Ayan, pagka nurse na kayo, mag-i-inject kayo ng gamot sa pasyente. Saan dinadaan yan, di ba? Sa skin. Okay. Although, pwede namang padaanin sa iba, pero kadalasan sa through skin. Okay po? So, yun po yung mga functions. Now, dumako naman po tayo sa mga layers ng skins. Okay, the skin is divided into two major layers. The epidermis and the dermis. Plus, meron siyang additional layer dun sa ilalim called the hypodermis. Okay. Epidermis is the outermost layer or the superficial layer. Yung nasa labas yung nakakapa mo. While the dermis is the deep layer. Okay? Dun sa ilalim naman. At dun sa pinakailalim is the hypodermis. From the word hypo, sa ilalim. It is otherwise known as subcutaneous layer. Again, found deep to the dermis. So, sunod-sunod lang yan ha. Epidermis sa labas, tapos dermis sa loob, and then sa pinakaloob pa is the hypodermis, which is made up of fat tissue. Okay? Okay, unahin natin yung epidermis. Under epidermis, there are 4 major types of cells. Meron daw 4 na klase ng cells sa epidermis. Unang-una is the keratinocytes. Okay? Pangalawa is the melanocytes. Pangatlo is the Langerhans cells. And pang-apat, the Merkel cell. Okay? Keratinocytes, from the word itself, ito po yung nagpuproduce ng keratin. Okay? That forms the outer protective layer of our skin. Yung melanocytes naman, also from the word itself, produces or synthesizes melanin, a brown pigment of our skin that protects us from ultraviolet ray and sunlight heat. While the Langerhans cells are responsible for allergic responses. Kaya pagka merong allergy sa balat mo, namamaga. Okay, yan po ang trabaho ni Langerhans cells for allergic response. And the Merkel cells are responsible for tactile sensation. Ano nga ulit yung tactile? Like touch, pressure, vibration, and tickle or kiliti. Okay? Okay. Epidermis. So, yung epidermis, nasa epidermis pa rin pala tayo, is composed naman of 4 layers. 4 layers sa mga maninipis ang balat. Pero 5 layers daw sa mga makakapal ang muka. Ay, hindi pala. Makakapal ang balat. Okay? Kasi yung katawan natin, merong manipis na balat dyan, meron din namang makapal. No? So, 4 to 5 layers ang ating skin. Okay? So, discuss natin yung mga layers na yan. Ano? So, under which, unahin natin sa pinaka-taas, pababa. Ibig sabihin from the superficial layer, okay, down to the deep layer. So, the most superficial layer is called the stratum corneum. By the way, from the word strata, meaning layer. Okay? Naalala niyo stratified, di ba? Strata means layer. Okay. So, stratum corneum, yan yung pinaka superficial layer, yung bandang taas. It is made up of horny layer. Now, from the word corny, cornified meaning horn. So, horny layer. Okay, tapos dun sa ilalim niya is the stratum lucidum. From the word lucidum, lucida means clear. So that is a clear layer. Bakit clear layer? Kasi yung layer na yan is made up of cells that lacks nucleus. Wala po silang nucleus. Only cytoplasm, which makes the cells and that layer clear. Bakit walang nucleus? Kasi unti-unti na pong namamatay yung cell to form the keratin on the stratum corneum. Okay? The stratum corneum forms the keratin of our skin. Necessary or essential or important for protection. Okay, so corneum, keratin, stratum lucidum, clear layer, wherein the cells are clear that lacks nucleus. Sa ilalim naman niya, stratum granulosum, from the word granular. Okay, meron po siyang mga granules of what? Okay, keratohyalin granules. Ano yung keratohyalin granules? Ito yung mga granules produced by keratinocytes. Okay, necessary in forming the keratin or synthesizing keratin. Sa ilalim naman ng stratum corneum, ito, stratum spinosum or the spiny layer. Dahil pag tinignan po natin sa microscope yung layer na yan, may mga kanto, spine. From the word spine, meaning kanto or matalim na, pointed corners. Okay? Kaya yung likod mo, kaya tinawag din na spinal column yan. Pag kinapa mo yan, may mga pointed structure. Kaya may mga pointed part, di ba? Kita yung mga pointed corners. Kaya stratum spinosum. At dun sa pinakailalim, yan, okay, na nakadikit na po siya sa dermis is called the stratum basale. From the word base, So, yun po yung basal layer. It is otherwise known as stratum germinativum. From the word germinativum meaning germination. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng germination? Yung buto, pag tumutubo, ang tawag doon germination. Okay, kasi dyan po sa layer na yan, dyan po nangyayari yung skin growth. Ibig sabihin dyan na pagka nasugat ka, so dyan naggagaling yung paghilom. Kaya stratum germinativum. Or stratum basale meaning the basal layer. Okay? So after which, punta na tayo sa ilalim is the dermis. Okay, so the dermis naman is divided into two layers, the papillary layer and the reticular layer. Yan, reticular. Unahin natin yung papillary layer. Yung papillary layer, yung bandang taas, na nakadikit po sa epidermis. Samantalang yung reticular layer, yun naman po yung bandang ibaba na nakadikit naman sa hypodermis. Okay? So dito ito yung sa taas papillary layer, ito yung epidermis So ito na yung dermis yan sa ilalim. So yung bandang taas daw ng dermis is the reticular layer. I'm sorry. Kalimutan ko na. Papillary layer at yung bandang ibaba naman na nakadikit naman sa hypodermis is the reticular layer. Okay ba? Yan. Okay, and the last but not the least, okay, ay yung hypodermis. Again, saan matatagpo yung hypodermis? Sa ilalim ng dermis. So, pinakataas, superficial layer is the epidermis, followed by the dermis, and the innermost layer is the hypodermis. It is otherwise known as what? Subcutaneous tissue, which is made up of adipose tissue or fat tissue. And it is necessary or essential for storage of fat, which serves as a reservoir of food for source of energy, emergency fuel, yung fats. And for cushion or shock absorber para pagka tayo ay kaya yung ating butt or yung ating puwit medyo makapal po yung hypodermis dyan para pagka umuupo tayo ay hindi nasasaktan yung pit natin. Okay. Tsaka yun, pagka natumba rin tayo, hindi mababawasan yung impact sa ating katawan dahil sa hypodermis, which is made up of fat tissue. Okay, so after the skin, we now move to the accessory organs. Okay, number 1 is the hair. Yan. So the hair, parts ng hair, the hair bulb, ito yung hair bulb. Pagka binunot mo yung hair mo, meron kang mapapansin na parang kulay puti na maliit na bumbilya dun sa dulo, no? So yun po yung hair bulb. Tapos yung hair matrix, okay? Yan. Tapos yung hair papilla. So take note na yung hair matrix, yan po yung responsible for hair growth. Kaya ang hair, kahit made up of keratin yan, technically dead and dry cells, pero bakit tumutubo pa rin, Okay, kasi meron siyang hair matrix responsible for what? For hair growth. Okay, hair papilla, yung pinaka loob naman. Yung sa loob ng hair matrix, merong hair papilla doon, no? Okay. By the way, the hair is divided into 2 parts. The hair shaft, ano yung hair shaft? Take note that the hair shaft is the exposed part. Yung nakalabas, yung nakikita mo. And the hair root ay yung nakabaon dun sa hair follicle ng iyong skin. Diba? Meron tayong 3 klase ng hairs. Lanugo, terminal, and vellus. Okay, ano yung lanugo? Ito yung hair na matatagpuan sa fetus. Okay? Minsan pagsilang ng bata, meron pa rin yan eh. Pero eventually, nawawala rin. Nag-shed off din. Okay? Tapos, yung terminal hairs, ito yung mga makakapal na buhok sa katawan natin tulad ng bigote, balbas, yung buhok mo sa scalp or sa ulo, sa kilikili. Okay? At saka buhok mo dun sa yan, mga terminal hairs. Basta pagka makapal and very visible, although mahaba yung iba hindi masyadong mahaba, basta visible, terminal hair yan. And the last but not the least is vellus hair. Ito naman yung mga maninipis. Hindi sila masyadong noticeable. Okay, example dyan, yung skin sa face. Diba? Hindi naman masyadong kita yan. Pero pagka ginamitan mo ng magnifying lens yan, makikita mo merong mga unpigmented, ibig sabihin mga pale, hindi unpigmented. Pale, ibig sabihin hindi siya maitim. Halos wala siyang kulay. So yan po yung vellus, no. Next are the glands. Glands. At merong 3 klase ng glands, 3 klase. The sebaceous gland or also known as the oil glands. Okay, tapos the sweat glands or also known as the apocrine glands or also known as sudoriferous glands. Nagsisikret naman ito nag-i-excrete ng sweat that contains metabolic waste and also responsible for thermoregulation in regulating body temperature. Kaya di ba pagka mainit, pinagpapawisan tayo. And the third one is the ceruminous gland. Ano naman yung ceruminous gland? Ito naman yung matatagpuan sa ating tenga. Okay, that secrete cerumen. Ano yung cerumen? Okay, also known as earwax. Yan. So, nagpuproduce po yan ng earwax to protect the inner ear from dust and foreign objects, thus protecting our tympanic membrane or eardrum. Okay. Next is the nails. It is made up of hard keratin. Pare sila ng hair, no? Ang hair made up of also keratin, pero ang nails, hard keratin. Okay, it corresponds to the hooves. Hooves yung sapatos ng kabayo, and claws ng mga birds. Okay, claws of birds and other mammals. It is composed of the body. Ano yung body? Body is the exposed part. Yung nakikita ninyo, yun yung body. Root, yun yung nakatago dun sa skin. Okay? Root, nakatago sa skin. Di mo makikita. Okay? And the nail matrix. Ano yung nail matrix? Okay? Although sa iba, hindi siya halata, pero in other nails, merong parang crescent shape or half moon shape na kulay puti, yun po yung nail matrix known as the lunula. Ano naman yung lunula or nail matrix? Yan po yung counterpart ng hair matrix responsible for hair growth, di ba? Ang nail matrix naman or lunula responsible naman yan sa nail growth. Kaya kahit na kinakat mo yung nail mo, tubo pa rin siya ng tubo. Okay? And then, nail bed. Ano yung nail bed? Pag tinuklap yung kuko mo, yung skin na naiwan, kung saan nakapatong yung nail mo, yan naman yung nail bed. Okay ba? Okay. Next are the disorders of the skin. Mga sakit sa balat. Siyempre, ang pinakasakat ay yung paso or burns. Merong 3 klase. First degree burn, second degree burn, and the third degree burn. Ano po ang pagkakaiba ng 3 burns na yan? Pag sinabing first degree burn, ang nasunog lamang ay yung epidermis na nagkukos lamang ng redness or pamumula. Yung second degree burn naman, hindi lang epidermis, damay hanggang dermis. Okay, na kung saan merong blistering, ibig sabihin, nagpapaltos na, lumulobo, nagtutubig-tubig na yung paso. Okay? Second degree burn yon. At yung third degree burn, full thickness of the skin is destroyed. Yung abot hanggang hypodermis. Okay, ibig sabihin, malalang sunog na ito, abot hanggang hypodermis. Okay? Yan. Next are another disorder of the skin are the tumor. Tumor of the skin. At meron 2 klase ng tumor, yung isa benign, at yung malala, yung cancer. Pag sinabing benign, reversible pa to, no? Ibig sabihin, nagagamot pa to. Tulad ng mga warts, although warts can also become cancer, ano? Pagka pinabayaan. So, benign are associated with irritation or even virus. Ito naman yung mas malala, okay, yung cancer, although cancer can also be reversible, ibig sabihin, pwede ring magamot, okay, but many cancers are irreversible. Ibig sabihin, hindi nagagamot. So, fortunately, merong mga chemotherapy, radiation therapy, or ectomy, tinatanggal na lang para ma-prevent or magamot. Ang cancer ng skin is usually associated with UV exposure. Kaya delikado po ang ultraviolet ray, lalo na pagka masyado ng marami sa tanghaling tapat or lagi ka nakabilad, delikado po yun. Okay, at meron 3 klase ng cancer, skin cancer. Ayan, yung basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma. Okay? So, pansinin natin, no, yung basal cell carcinoma, para siyang nagtutubig, no? Yung squamous cell carcinoma, para naman siyang fungal infection lang. So, pagka meron kang fungal infection na kulay pula, tapos hindi gumagaling kahit nilalagyan mo na ng mga anti-fungicides, yan. Patingin ka na agad sa mga dermatologist. Baka yan ay squamous cell carcinoma. At yung melanoma para siyang balat, no? Parang balat na may itim na may kulay pula. So, kailangan din nating patingin sa dermatologist kung yan ay cancerous or not. Okay pa? So, yun. That ends our topic. I hope nakatulong ito. Although talagang hindi ko kahit as much as I wanted na i-cover po lahat, but because of the limited time, I am constricted to do so. Okay? So, yun lang po. With that, good day and God bless. Bye.